Friday this week, and Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi announced changes in the NSSF Board of Trustees.
I have retired from the Board of Trustees, Mr. Francis Atwoli and Mrs. Jacqueline Mugo, who have served in the board for 15 years and 11 years respectively.
Suffice it to say that that act came into force in January 2014. Barely 6 months ago. So for one to cite it as a basis for removal of people whose terms are still running is quite amazing and acceptable, and a show of complete misunderstanding.
The Federation of Kenya Employers now reads malice in the move and terms it a violation of the tripartite representation of the workers and employers on the board of the NSSF.
So the minister clearly is having problems making that distinction, and then he's using powers that do not exist in the Act to take actions that cannot be supported.
Mugo, the FKE Executive Director, says the decision is ill-advised, misplaced and misguided, and a sure recipe for creating disharmony within the labor movement in the country.
This action is unfortunately misguided, ill-conceived and ill-advised, because the minister does not have the powers to take that kind of action.
Mugo appealed to the Attorney General Githu Muigai to step in and advise both the Ministry of Labour and Cabinet Secretary on the proper interpretation of the new NSSF Act.
But the person to effect that change is not a unilateral decision done by the Cabinet Secretary.
She pointed out that the Cabinet Secretary is already suffocating the spirit of the new Act by taking unilateral decisions that are detrimental to the implementation of the law.
It is the spirit, the honesty, the seriousness and the commitment to make this Act work that we doubt. Because the very person who should be championing and listening to the parties and saying, employers, what are your issues? Workers, what are your issues? Can we resolve them?
Mugo's reaction comes on the eve of a planned meeting of all Secretaries General of Unions affiliated to the Central Organization of Trade Unions, COTU, slated for Sunday at Solidarity Building. Judith Akolo, Channel 1 Weekend.